There you go. Use the hashtag RCWrapUp to chime in, join the conversation. Want to know how you're feeling? 10 and 20 are your Portland Trailblazers.
Nice round number.
Everyone in the arena, for the most part, very happy with the victory. Some of the Twitterers,
Crowd was on tilt tonight.
not too pleased, but
A post-Christmas game against the Jazz.
I'm going to live in the moment and be very excited about this victory, Danny. Very exciting night for the Blazers. I won't even call it a rock fight early. It was a bit of a pebble fight.
No, it was a disgrace to rock fights.
And then a basketball game broke out. Blazers score 41 in the fourth, and they get it done. They take care of the Utah Jazz. And I said to you before we came on, it had the aroma of an overtime game, but it was not to be. Scoot knocked down that jumper at the end. Did he pound the rock at the end? Yes. Was it the best possession in the world? No. Did he make it into the Blazers win?
Yes.
Yes.
Technically, all of those things are
thing.
true. Let's kind of start with the end of the game and then work our way back. I think that's the most appropriate way.
Reverse chronological.
Scoot Henderson hits a game winner on a spinning post fade from the elbow.
Just how they drew it up.
I'm going to go ahead and go down the list of shots that you would want to get before that particular shot.
Come on.
Probably do about 47 of them.
We cannot spend the opening of the show killing the guy who
I'm
had
not killing him.
Okay.
It was a
he had a very good game.
Results over process shot.
Sure.
And, on game winners, you probably prefer the results because the opportunity for those shots don't come up all that often. But I'll just say if that shot had not gone in, Denny Avdija would have had a second reason tonight to want to kill Scoot Henderson.
When Scoot had the ball at the top of the key, only one thing was going to happen. Scoot Henderson was going to take that shot. And I think a lot of it had to do with the previous possession being such a disaster, where not only Scoot
he didn't know what he wanted to do.
Missing the shot with about 30 seconds left, but because it happened so quickly into the shot clock, it allowed Utah to come down, hit the three, and then you're like, oh my God, are we actually going to blow this game? So I think that probably led to Scoot feeling like, all right, I made the mistake on the last possession. I got to make it right here.
Yeah, if you go back to that last possession, you had Scoot, and I want to say it was Shaden at the top of the key with Denny off on the wing, and Scoot just decided it's Scoot Henderson time. And he took an early shot, contested shot that was like a fall away runner, going away from the rim. It's like, if Scoot's going at the rim, that's a shot that you live with. Like, it's Scoot Henderson going downhill.
He was kind of in between those two schools of thought was the issue.
And that was the thing and you could tell in the set that they didn't know what they wanted. And that was it was a bit panicked from Scoot. And it was one of those. And again, I'm not trying to kill the kid because game winner, he had a great game tonight, all those things. But he had a couple of possessions that stood out as like, what are you doing? And he did enough to compensate for some of those what are you doing possessions.
There are going to be plenty of nights, and we've had plenty of nights to nitpick Scoot. I'm gonna go with this is not the night.
No.
And I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying we shouldn't. We don't go down that road tonight because we've gone down that road a lot earlier in the season.
The redemption was there for him, exactly in the game winner. Would I like to see him in the process kick that ball out to Denny? Yeah, I would. But he hit the shot, so you give him the credit. And again, tonight, I thought he kind of sandwiched this game with his opening stint was pretty bad, and then he was phenomenal for about an 8-minute stretch when he came back in the second time.
Probably his best quarter of the season.
If it's not his best, it's one of his two or three. Yeah, 100%. And in his first shift defensively, he was really poor. But he came back and he just kind of found his groove offensively, and it gave him enough confidence to kind of feed in the defensive side of the game. He's still going to struggle on that side, but that's fine. It is what it is. He's still incredibly young. But I thought his floor game was really good. Very, very rarely tonight was I kind of like, what are you trying to get done here? Unfortunately, that second to last possession was one of them.
But to your point, he did look in command more often than he 100%. Looked lost, and we're often saying the inverse when talking about Scoot Henderson. So it's really nice to see the process be a big part of it, but also the results fall in line. I mean, he had 10 assists and 1 turnover tonight.
That's the big one, is the 1 turnover.
Well, in a night where Jeremy didn't really have it going, Ant had a rough night from the field, you needed this kind of game from 100%. Scoot to get it over the top.
And I think you got the games that you got from Scoot, Denny, and Shaden were massive, and you don't win this game without it. It's kind of unfortunate that you need those 3 massive games from those guys against a Jazz team that isn't very good. They're now 7-22 on the season. One of their 7 wins is a 42-point win over these Trailblazers.
Indeed, we remember.
Yeah, but again, to kind of your point, what you wanted to see from this team tonight was this. competitive. The fight was there all night, and again, you said it was a pebble fight to start the game.
Sluggish.
I mean, it was nasty basketball. Just call it what it was.
Day after Christmas, you got a lot of things you're worrying about. Maybe your head's not totally in the game.
There's a bug going around too. The guys are sick. Like it's just it's that time. This is like the official since he's come back from his injury. He's kind of been behind the eight ball, and I think a big part of that is at this. We've talked about this. This is the time when you see rookies hit the wall. It's just. Even though he had games off, you're still traveling, you're still here, you're still there. You're not – the flow of everything isn't there.
Well, he's sort of hit the wall in a way that I don't think is the traditional rookie wall where you see someone run into a rookie wall where they get sort of like tired and lethargic and things aren't coming as easy and deep. He just seems kind of out of the flow of the basketball game right now. It's almost like he's playing a different game than the other four Blazers on the floor. And – I'm going to give him a lot of latitude because
100%.
of how much we saw when he was playing a lot, and hope that he finds his footing a little bit. I'm not necessarily worried about.
This is totally normal. Like I don't say that as like a.
I just think the time missed was a detriment more than him getting his sea legs back.
I think it's both, to be honest. I think it's when he sprains his MCL, he can't move, so you lose some game fitness. You lose some stuff that kind of goes with that. The flow. When you're rehabbing, I don't think most people realize that even though you're on the team, use the air quotes, you're not really a part of the team when you're out.
Explain that.
You're isolated and you're doing rehab and you're concentrating on getting back on the floor doing runs. You're not in the when you're doing walkthroughs and stuff like that. You're just sitting off. So
you're on your own schedule more than participating in shoot around and practice when it happens and these sorts of things.
And then you start kind of ramping up, but then it takes probably 2 weeks to get back up to game speed, particularly when it's a lower body injury, because everybody talks about, they're NBA players, they're in shape, blah, blah, blah. It's like there is a stark difference between practice shape and game shape in the NBA. Like every single player who's been around long enough will tell you, you need like a week, 10 days, 14 days to like fully get back into the groove of it, just because it's so different. And so I'm not particularly worried about him tonight. He 13 and a half minutes, rebounds, couple steals.
He was fine, just kind of out of position a few times, kind of some weird fouls. And
there was one time when he was on Eubanks and he sagged way in, and Eubanks hits a corner three, and it's like.
Drew in his Super Bowl dominating. The terror of Troutdale was unbelievable tonight.
Just 6 of 6, 15 points. He was
corner threes?
Corner threes
What's
and put back
doing?
dunks. Also, he was just typical Drew Eubanks. I've seen Shaden Sharp argue a foul maybe 4 times in my life. The one on Eubanks is one of them, and Drew did sell it. He hooked him and then fell to the ground like a sack of bricks. Shout out Drew. He stayed in the league quite a few years now because he knows how to do all of the little things.
Guys getting contracts.
He's a 6'9" center. You got to do all the little. You got to grift to get those.
He's
deals.
figuring it out. Can we move to Denny, because we've gone too long without talking about Denny and how sensational he was. I
Best
tweeted
game of the
it
season,
out.
like not even close.
He had a season high 27 points. I tweeted it out even before he kind of had that massive run in the fourth quarter, but. He is, to me, without question, the most consistent Portland Trailblazer on this squad.
Outside of the first 2 weeks when he was struggling with his shot, 100%. Because, and a big part of it is because his game relies on physicality. And it's not about finesse. It's not necessarily about shooting.
I don't have to make 4 threes a night to contribute to this team.
Now, when he makes the threes, you get these
huge.
nights. When he finished with 2 of 4 tonight, but he got to the free throw line 10 times.
That's the key.
And that's the thing is I tweeted out tonight some gif of a rugby player stiff arming a guy to the ground. I'm like, this is what Denny Avdija looks like when he drives to the rim, and it was. Isaiah Collier is a rookie guard from USC. He's like 6'3", like 220.
Fight on.
But he is a truck of a kid, and Denny just ran him over 3 or 4 times, and I was like, oof, that's. I try to drive this point home to people who don't understand how big Denny is. Denny is 6'9", 245 pounds. Think about that for a second, okay? Like, the idea of that's Rob Gronkowski dribbling the ball down the floor.
But taller.
An inch taller. Yeah, he's a massive human who he's going to put it,
And he's young.
Yeah, he's 23 years old.
He's young.
The only player in the league to me that is comparable to him with his size and strength and, willingness to get downhill, and I'm not calling him this, so everybody chill, but it's Luka Doncic. That's the only player in the league because he just puts his shoulder in your chest, and it's like
Meringue calls Denny Luka Doncic.
Yeah, exactly. I know how those.
That's
those
the full quote.
But the way he gets downhill is very Luka-esque in that
it is.
It's the deceleration. He's going to hit that Euro step, and he's going to put his shoulder into you, and he is seeking contact.
But when he drives to the basket and he's running a million miles an hour down the floor, it's not as though I watch him and I think, oh, he's out of control. I think something good is going to happen every time, because when he was getting into the paint, either he had a chippy from 5 feet, or he was throwing it out to the corner, or he was finding DA for a wide open 12-footer. Good things were happening almost every single time he was putting his head down into the paint, and Utah couldn't adjust.
No, and that's the thing is, like, the Blazers have this thing where their offense, paint touches per possession. Now, if you can get into the paint and score on the first one easily, like Denny does, great.
Sold.
If not, get in there, get in the paint, collapse the defense, kick it back out, drive again on the second side, or take the open three. Like, that's kind of, you look at what the Blazers offense did tonight, they shot, 51-40. That's a great night. And you go up and down, the only player who did not shoot well tonight was Ant.
Mm-hmm.
He at least made up a little bit of it down the stretch. But, talking to Coach Bjorken, he closed with Scoot and Denny. No Jeremy, no Ant. That's a bit of a change, but he talked about the energy and the intensity and the effort those guys are bringing. It sounds like Ant might have a little bit of a bug, and that's again why
the vibe looked off all night, even when he made those couple late in the game.
Yeah, that's not like him to just kind of, like, you could say he had a bad night, in a given night, but it's not like him to just kind of float through a game.
Yeah.
So, you kind of write one of those up. And
to Ant's credit, he was trying to impact the game defensively. He had a couple of steals because I think he knew pretty early on he didn't really have it offensively.
Just didn't have the juice.
Yeah. Overall, bad night, but I still think he gave an effort where he could.
No, and he was incredibly complimentary of Scoot in the post game, and talking to the guys in the locker room, everybody was just jacked about about the night. And I think that the Denny's night tonight was incredible. 9 of 13, 2 of 4 from 3, 7 of 10 from the line.
8 boards, 6 assists.
His box score was basically his second best game of his career. Okay, he's had 4 games of 25, 5 and 5, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Okay, this is his first one as a Trailblazer. I believe it was his second highest scoring night of his career. All that's awesome. The thing that I take from tonight was he just absolutely lit into Scoot Henderson for failing to pick up a Johnny Juzang in transition. And it's not because Scoot screwed up. Stuff happens. I don't care about that.
Okay.
The thing that stands out to me, and this is something you and I have talked about for a while, is that the Blazers have needed a guy who's a complete bleep hole. They need that guy
or someone who
up and down the roster. It does not matter. Denny couldn't do that on day one. You can't. You're too new. You don't have the equity. You don't have the respect. But I tell you right now, everybody knows how hard he plays. And everybody knows how good he is.
Yeah, it's game 30 now.
And the fact that he felt comfortable enough to just light him up right there, I was like, that is awesome. Because they need that guy. They've needed that guy, that vocal leader, the guy that's going to hold everyone accountable up and down the roster. Because I've seen him do it to DA. I've seen him do it to Ant. And it was just nice to, my immediate thought was, oh, Scoot screwed up and blah, 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 blah. No, it was Denny feels comfortable enough to be that guy in this moment. And that is, when you're talking about the micro developments of a season, that's one in game 82 when I'm writing the season wrap up or doing a podcast or whatever, when I'm taking full.
The post-mortem of the season.
I'm going to remember that if that's just the thing that keeps holding true. Because to do that in that moment, in a game that's close, and I don't care that it's the Utah Jazz. I don't. But these are the things that you file away for later. Because if he ends up being the emotional leader of the team in the next couple of years, you can call out the spark point.
And he's certainly on his way to doing that. And to your point, okay, he does it to DA and Jeremy. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. But when he does it to Scoot or does it to Shea, and maybe those guys return the serve back in his court, then you're like, oh, we really got something.
Yeah.
Because it's with the guys that are part of the longer-term vision of this franchise. And so that's very exciting to see. And I like the way, because I heard you ask Coach about it. And I liked Scoot's response when he was asked about it later on. And he kind of smiled and said, yeah, Denny and I both thought the other one was out of position, but we talked about it, we communicated, and then we moved on down the floor. And it's good that Scoot, as a 20-year-old, and Denny Avdija, as a 23-year-old, can have that sort of interaction. It's not contentious, but like Coach said, it was competitive, which I think is the really correct word to use. Because when you see people sniping at each other, you always think of Draymond. He's coming up in the show later. We got some stuff about Draymond to talk about. But You think of this really contentious, infighting, and there was the little moments and the big moments, and they put it all together tonight, and I'm just excited and relieved that they were able to get this victory against the Utah Jazz, because I know for long-term prognosis, it is better for the Blazers to lose this game to the Jazz.
Particularly
because then you lose
team.
2 games to the Jazz. This is going to be one of the teams that you're trying to capture the flag for as we flip to the summer and the draft lottery and that whole situation. But Boxing Day, the holidays are upon us. It's Hanukkah, it's Kwanzaa, it's the day after Christmas, it's everything right now. Let's just get a present for Rip City, and we got one tonight, and it feels good to get a victory. It just does.
No,
that crowd wanted a win.
No, I want to give credit to the Blazers fans. I thought day after Christmas against the Jazz in this season.
It's going to be sleepy.
Yeah, I was like, this is probably going to be a tough crowd in here. And, I mean, they got after it all night long. It was like
they brought it.
I looked around at media row. I was like, is it just me or is it just kind of gassed up for this?
You know what kind of galvanized them a little bit, I thought, was the air ball free throws.
Oh,
they
brought
nuts. The house down.
Absolutely nuts.
Rightly so. It was very, very fun. We'll get to Shea in a second, but first, let's talk about our dear friends from Dick Hanna Subaru. At Dick Hanna Subaru, they're all about making the car buying experience a pleasure. Not only does every new Subaru come with a lifetime powertrain warranty, but for a limited time, you also get 2 Mount Hood Fusion passes with your purchase or lease. Dick Hanna Subaru, they believe it nice. Visit today and see what makes them different. Danny, you may think we're about to do Trend BA, but we're not.
Oh, no.
It's a new segment we're debuting on the show called Stump Danny.
Oh.
That's right.
Awesome.
Danny Moran knows everything about the Portland Trail Blazers, or does he? We're about to find out.
Not.
All right, Danny, here's the Stump Danny question for tonight. What day of the week have the 2024-2025 Portland Trail Blazers played the most games on this season? What day of the week have the Blazers played the most games on this season?
Is it Thursday?
It is not Thursday. It is Friday. The Blazers are an unfortunate 1-6 on Friday. Give you a chance to make up for it.
Okay.
What day of the week have they played the least amount of games on this season, Danny?
Sunday.
Also incorrect.
Oh.
Sorry.
Forget it.
That Tuesday, they've played 2 games.
They've only played 2 Tuesday games.
They've only played 2 Tuesday games.
I think they've had 3 Sunday games.
They're 1-1. Don't worry, we'll give you another chance on Saturday to redeem yourself. There we go.
The funny part is you think I know what days are.
We have stumped Danny. Yes, somehow today is Thursday.
Yeah,
if you're counting along, Thursday is the day of the week.
I legitimately don't know. Like
that we're on.
I get on. No. I get to the radio station and I hope that it's a Monday through a Friday, and Dusty will say something along the lines of like, "Hey, it's a Tuesday," and I'm like, "Oh, is it?"
Yeah.
And it's like if you ever hear me on the radio, I'm not joking.
Well, especially this week in particular, it is very difficult to understand what day of the week.
I mean, holidays and travel.
This was a business day.
Yeah.
People conducted business today.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
I did.
That's no.
None
Hey,
of
look,
you did either.
I'm telling you right now. If you work today, no, you didn't. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to yourself. That's not fair. Just we're not. Come on.
They worked a double
Yeah.
in the back room there. Congratulations. Thanks to all of you for playing along. Okay, Shaden Sharp. Incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Clutch. 27 points tonight. And I look back at his last 5 games because he had 2 clunkers in a row coming into tonight. Against Phoenix and San Antonio, he had 12 and 11. Prior to that, he had consecutive games of 25 and 27. 27 again tonight. I'd love to see Shea string together like a week of these, 10 days of these.
That's always been the thing.
Of course.
I shouldn't say always. Like this is year 3.
But that's the thing. It's the yo-yo effect. And when you see a game like tonight, you're like, oh my God, what do we have here? And then he'll do the disappearing act. And I just hope that he maybe in this little homestand, Danny, this little 3-game stretch here, maybe
build on it.
Can build on it a little bit before they head on the road.
I was talking to somebody about that exactly tonight, and I was asking, do you know anybody in the NBA who's doing like a consistency metric? I know somebody tried to do one about 10 years ago, and it's kind of hard to come up with, and teams in house kind of have their own kind of ways to do it. I've been working on a Shaden Sharp article, and I teased about 2 weeks ago, but because of my overall health and being gone from Army Navy and everything else, Christmas and everything.
It's life.
It's sitting there and it's almost done. And I've gotten some more data and some more information about it. And one of the things I was talking to him about tonight was, how Shaden Sharp has improved, not just improved, he's getting essentially the same. I'll give away the sauce here a little bit. Shaden has gotten almost the same amount of touches in the front court as he has basically all season. There's an uptick, I want to say, of like 0.4. Like, it's almost negligible at this point.
Okay.
But it's in the same places, getting the same opportunities. What's different? It's that he's being more aggressive. He's not turning, like, when the ball goes out, simple explanation. Anthony Simon starts possession, like on a DHO, attacks, gets downhill, swings it out to Shaden. When Shaden's catching it now, the ball's either going up or he's attacking. There's not a hesitation and the window passed, let me pass that ball up.
Now, what is there an actual measurable for that, or is that just watching tape?
No, it's like I can see exactly how many times he touches the ball in the front court, where he touches the ball.
So you can nerd out and see the actual. Yes. Here's the percentage. You can see the uptick happening.
I literally have it all charted out. That way I can kind of see it and compare and contrast it.
Got it.
Over time periods, and it's almost identical. So I can see how many isolations, how many drives, how many touches he's getting in the front court, how many times he's even operating in a pick and roll, all of those different things. And it's all almost exactly the same. The difference is Shaden Sharp's, aggressiveness, his chutzpah, whatever you want to call it, has gone up exponentially. And this is why I've sat here and just beat that drum of get downhill. When Shaden Sharp attacks downhill, good things happen. There are very few players that can bother him. Like when he had a couple finishes tonight up and around Walker Kessler that was like, oh.
The last one was
when he slid by and just
he made it look so easy.
And then the confidence starts kind of building on itself after he attacks a few times and he's successful. And like the one that stood out to me was in the final minute. They get the ball in early transition. It was the possession before the one that kind of broke down to Scoot. And he attacked early with like 40 seconds on the clock. There's no Walker Kessler. There's no 7-foot Lowry Markkanen back in the paint. It's 2 6'3" guys. And Shaden, most times you're probably sitting there going, whoa, hold it. Get a good possession here. Shaden goes, no, I'm going to get downhill because there's nobody in here who can go up with me. And he just goes up, glides around, and finishes with the right hand. I was like, there. That's where the IQ started to kick in. Because it's not a talent thing with Shea. There's no.
Well, I think we all agree on that. There's no talent issue, but it's
the recognition.
It's the recognition, but it's also situationally. There was one time tonight, and it was early in the game, and it was a very small moment where he had the opportunity to take one of those hezzy step back threes that we talk about, where we say no, that's not the shot, and he passed it up. And it was.
You're talking about the one where he looked down at the line and realized he was like standing on the line.
That's exactly right. And he passed up that opportunity because a better shot was to come. Now, they didn't score that possession, but I still like that maturation from him tonight. And he was 5 of 10 from 3.
I mean, that always makes everything look a lot better.
That makes things look a lot better, but he was very, very effective in getting to the basket. He also added.
He's 6 of 8 of 2s.
A couple of blocks as well, Danny.
He came out of nowhere. I didn't think there was any possible chance that he could get to that block. And he just comes up completely across the lane and basically slithered in between 2 guys and knocked it down. Scoot had one of those tonight too. And it was just like, oh, this is Shaden realizing, here's how I can use my tools. And like, I don't think Shaden is ever going to be a number 1 option, but he can be a damn good number 2 and an insanely good number 3. And the thing I was talking about this individual tonight is the idea of attacking second sides. Like if you have somebody, whether it's Ant or Scoot, who can collapse a defense and put him in rotation, the second you allow Shaden Sharp to attack a defense that's not set up with eyes or 2 sets of eyes, 3 sets of eyes on him, that's when he becomes a problem. Because yes, he's an elite finisher at the rim. Yes, he can. Talking to the coaching staff this year, they basically want to kill him when he passes up on catch and shoot threes because he's very good at it.
Yeah.
But he also, I'm the analytics guy. The pull up 2 is not something you want most guys to go to. I want him going to that shot.
I'm with you, Dan.
Like he gets to that shot. I want to say he's a 45 or 46% mid-range shooter right now.
The lost art.
Look, I mean, when teams are running you off the line and they're sending their big or making sure you can't get to the rim, I don't want him taking that shot every time.
No.
But the fact that that's in his bag and he sees the defense sitting, get to your spot, sit down, take that shot, and the defense will call that a win and say, oh, take those all night. But no, what ends up happening is mentally that big starts taking that step out just a little bit further. Like you can talk about scouting reports all you want. You start hitting enough shots on somebody anywhere on the floor, you start just kind of inching towards it. And those inches mean so much in the NBA. That's what allows lanes to open up. Now the big steps up and Tumani can back cut and go absolutely pack one on Walker Kessler.
Not only that, but Shea is effective at that mid-range shot.
Yes.
And it's like when you have a power pitcher who has a really effective changeup. He's not going to use the changeup a lot, but when he does, it becomes very, very effective. We haven't talked about two a lot recently.
No.
And look, 0 of 4 from 3, 6 points, not a very sexy night, but he's had 20 rebounds the last 2 games. He had 12 the other night. He had 8 tonight. Colin Sexton had a pretty decent night, I think. What did Sexton finish with? Yeah, he was 19, but he finished 7 of 19 from the field.
Yeah, that's the thing is.
And he was taking high degree of difficulty shots all night. And 2 was really wreaking havoc on the outside. And it's easy to get lost in the 27 from Shea, the 27 from Denny, the double-doubles from DA, the double-double from Scoot. But I think it's important that we reset every few nights when 2 doesn't have something that really stands out other than the dunk tonight, the dunk the other night, and really give him some love for continuing to do what he's done all season, which is destroy the confidence and the will of the best perimeter player for the other team.
Well, one, you will never do that with Colin Sexton because he's a 5'11 guard.
Confidence may be the wrong word.
Yeah, look, Colin Sexton is in the league still because he has all the confidence in the world. That's why he didn't stop at 16, 17, or 18 shots. He's going to continue. Look, he's going to continue.
He do cash.
But I mean, 2 wore him out. And the thing about Colin Sexton is he's a machine. He will just keep. He is a Terminator-like point guard.
Well, and especially on a team like this that stinks. Take 40 shots, Colin.
Well, not only
do what you want.
That's just who he is. Like he is work ethic wise, he's going to get after it. He's offensively, if a guy like 2 is picking him up, he sees that as where a lot of guys ugh. Sexton sees it as a challenge.
Go.
Like, come on, you want to bring it? Let's go. I'm about this life.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets him going. Real quick on Shaden. At the rim, he is in the 86th percentile finishing for guards, 72%. Right now, he is in the 79th percentile on long mid-range, from 14 feet to the three-point line. He is shooting 55%.
Wow.
So, again, the whole, where I'd like to see him take the shots, okay, I just wanted to pull that up because he has been phenomenal. Okay, to be on point, his highest rim finishing is 67%, so he's up 5% over his highest.
For a season.
Yes, and then his highest long mid is 42%. So he's a good mid-range shooter. This year he has been elite. As it pertains to Tumani, I've been really impressed with, even with his shooting kind of taking a step back, he's still letting go of the shots that need to go up.
Right.
And he's still being aggressive where he needs to be aggressive. But the thing that matters to me about Tumani Camara is no matter what is going on offensively, the defense never lets up. Those 2 things are not linked. And even though they lost in San Antonio and they lost in Dallas, he was chirping at guys. He was getting after guys. Him and Denny, to steal from Disney here, have kind of been Bash Brothers. The more physical and the more aggressive you get, the better they play.
How is Disney Bash Brothers? You lost me.
Mighty Ducks?
No, the Bash Brothers is Canseco and McGuire.
Well, no, I was going Bash Brothers and the Mighty Ducks.
Okay. I just have to make sure we're on the same page.
I'm not an A's fan. Come on now. Our producers saying the A's are better than the Ducks. I don't know about all that.
The Vegas A's?
I was saying one of them just lost. One of them just lost their team.
What A's?
Actually, they're not even the A's. They're the Athletics now.
Shout out to Scott Steele for. Is that right? They dropped the A's. They're the Athletics.
Yeah. No, I was saying. They have the.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right. Nice work by everyone down there. Yeah. Scott Steele checking it on YouTube. Thank you. He said, I did not work today. I did go to a restaurant. Thanks to the workers. Yes. Thanks to everyone out there who is working, continuing to get things done, especially in the service industry. Be nice. Tip very well.
Tip well.
Tip well. Okay, let's hear from our friends at Dick Hanna Subaru.
Absolutely.
Once again, Danny, pay attention. Did you hear that Dick Hanna Subaru is giving out Mount Hood Fusion passes? Have you heard this?
I have.
Good. You get 2 passes, plus every new Subaru comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty.
I do love a lifetime warranty.
It's your whole life.
It saved mine on my last car.
What a time to grab a Subaru and hit the slopes this winter. And boy, they're getting some serious snow up on the mountain.
Yeah, no, that thing is it's awful white. White.
Okay, now it is time for Trend BA. Let's pull up the Blazer box. Let's do it. The rumors of the NBA's demise were greatly exaggerated. Everyone watched basketball yesterday, Danny.
Gotta push back
Everyone watched football.
That's the
and
thing.
Flipped on basketball too.
There you go.
So,
they might have watched basketball at the same time, about half as much.
So
look,
Netflix put out some churched up numbers. They said 64 million people watched at least 1 minute of the Christmas NFL games yesterday. I am proud to say I am not one of those 64 million people.
I had it going on my phone.
Sure.
So I'll go that far.
Yeah.
So, look, it's nice that Christmas Day viewership is up, but the reason it's up is because nobody watched last year. Like, nobody at all. It was horrendous. The one thing that the NBA did right, and we've talked about the whole ratings thing, and I push back. Like, the NBA is not going anywhere. It's not dying. Like, there's some people who go that far, but there's also some people who are like, there's nothing wrong. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And now you don't need to compete with the NFL. You're never going to compete with the NFL. If you're trying to compete with the NFL, you might as well just pack the league up and be done with it. Because you're never going to touch that.
Well, I don't really know what does that mean, competing with the NFL? Like, they're just two sports leagues that exist.
Well,
if the NBA was to shut down Christmas basketball, that would be a mistake. They have to hold their ground a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that they need to do that. I'm saying that if it's a failure, as it were, because you're not competing with the NFL, then you should just shut down the league, because you're never going to. But everybody's like, see, the numbers are fine. I'm like, no. Those numbers are okay. That's what those numbers are. They're okay. The problem is, what was the most watched game of the year, of Christmas Day?
It was the game that I spent the most time watching. It was the Warriors and Lakers.
Okay. Why? Why was that the most watched game?
Because it's LeBron versus Steph.
Exactly.
And that's still the issue.
And that's the problem, is the league, much like in the Jordan era, didn't move on. And they are holding on to those two guys, the third being Kevin Durant.
Look who had the best day yesterday. It was the guy who played at 9 a.m. local time that probably no one watched. What did Wembanyama have? He had like 40
points, 12 rebounds.
I think he had 18 rebounds.
18 rebounds and 7 blocks.
He went nuts.
But, that was the one thing they got right, is that Victor Wembanyama played in a Christmas Day game. But why is he playing against the New York Knicks at 9 o'clock?
He should be playing against the Warriors or the Lakers.
Or the Thunder.
You should have an old star, like a LeBron or a Steph or a KD, playing the young guys.
Or have the young guys. It was like, nobody cares about watching the small markets. Green Bay, Wisconsin is the 69th biggest market in the entire country, and yet there are Packer fans everywhere.
Yeah, the small market thing doesn't matter anymore. It's not 1992.
No, Phoenix is the 9th or 10th biggest market in the country, and nobody cares about Phoenix sports.
Doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference. It's just like they have multiple teams in everything. It's like, what are we doing here? What matters is how you do it, how you build it, how you package it, and you've got to invest in your stars early and stop. I understand the need and the draw to have an American-born star. I get it. But Victor Wembanyama in 2 years is going to be the best player on the planet, and it's not going to be like a late kind of arriving thing like Nikola Jokic, where it took him like 6-7 years. Vic's going to be in year 4.
He might already be a top 5 guy.
He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. It's already done. And barring any injuries, he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to get MVP votes. Heaven forbid they make any kind of run and avoid the play-in. What happens if the Spurs go on like a 18-3 run to close
I hope
the season?
they do. That would be so good for the NBA. That would be unbelievable.
And you're like, oh, they're ahead of schedule.
That'd be fabulous. Maybe they win a first-round series, do something crazy.
What happens if, De'Aaron Fox sounds like he's trying to force his way out of Sacramento? What happens if the Spurs go and get De'Aaron Fox and kind of accelerate the timeline?
Love it.
And all of a sudden, you've got Fox and Sohan and Castle and Wembanyama.
Well, that's the thing, Danny. He's kind of forcing the issue now.
Because
of where he is.
Good.
Yes.
And the league has done a awful job of prioritizing international. Giannis, it took him basically winning the MVP and going to the finals before they started to give a damn.
Why don't we see any Luka commercials on TV? It's crazy. Look, he's probably hawking used cars in Dallas when he should be in the Sprite commercials.
I mean, Luka and Jokic don't really care about that stuff.
I understand.
But also, it's the league's responsibility to...
You got to force them.
Yes, and it's like, guys, you want the $280 million contract? This comes with it.
Look at Jordan. Jordan was not worried about the NBA. Jordan was worried about Jordan. Jordan wasn't in video games. Jordan was hawking his cologne and playing baseball and doing whatever the hell he wanted because he couldn't. He was Michael Jordan. So he cared about that.
Yes, and he was able to market
and Luka
that with a very questionable mustache.
Very questionable mustache. He brought it back.
Like, he made that mustache okay.
Incredible stuff. Google it if you want to know what we're talking about. I totally agree with your sentiment. I do think that at a minimum, this is good news.
Yes, because you're not getting absolutely crushed.
At a ratings bump and saying that it's bad.
No.
Especially when you're competing against 2 NFL games right in the middle of your 5-day slate.
Bad NFL games.
Truly horrendous. It's almost like they shouldn't be playing so many games close together. Interesting. But for the NBA to still compete and do better than they did last year, with 2 NFL games on, with 4 very high, a Super Bowl halftime show in the mix of all this, and the NBA still competing very well against that product, I think it's a successful day.
I do too. And again, the ratings were up for that time slot for Lakers Warriors. Did you see the number? 499%.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing is you've got to prioritize the kids. You've got to. Now, they should probably be smarter about, Edwards, John Morant, Zion Williamson, like maybe do a little bit more vetting on some guys before making them the face of your league.
But think about it this way, Danny. If LeBron comes out in the offseason and says, this is my last season
which
in
is
the
probably
NBA,
going to happen.
80 of the 82 Laker games next season are going to be nationally televised. And they're going to be a 500 team.
It'll be a never-ending Nike ad.
It's going to be ridiculous.
If you thought the Derek Jeter farewell tour was bad, where there's 164 of those things.
These farewell tours are so bad.
Yeah, they are.
It's the worst precedent we have set in sports.
Here's 30 different teams or 29 other teams who are going to bow down and kiss the butt of LeBron James. And it's like, what battles has LeBron James had with the Thunder?
Well,
what does it matter?
What I don't like about it is it's like we're dismissing the 20-plus years of great basketball he's given us, and we have to do like this really special thing to hang on at the end of his career instead of just saying, hey, look, 2 decades in this sport. We get it. You're one of the top 3 players in NBA history, if not the literal best. You scored more points than anybody. Like, we have spent a quarter century lionizing you, and yet we have to go through another year of this and lay it on super thick to the detriment of the Lakers franchise.
I mean, who cares about them?
But from their point, they have to do it. They did this with Kobe. They're going to do it with LeBron.
And the thing is like, in that process of having all of those games nationally televised, you're going to not broadcast the Thunder. You're going to not broadcast the Spurs. Whoever ends up going number 1, Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey or any of those guys, like you're just going to not prioritize those guys because you're the worldwide leader is going to look at that, and it's going to be nothing about debate shows and what team gave him what plaque and what present.
Like a chunk of the court or whatever. Let's pull up the Blazer box one more time because I want to show something from Christmas Day. So this is Draymond Green expressing himself against the Lakers. I mean, is he like, what is wrong with this man?
You know what? I want to give a lot of credit to the broadcast on this game. Great production here, by the way. Just a little zoom in.
This is worldwide.
Number 1, you cannot lock arms to keep a player from entering the paint, which neither Rui Hachimura nor Dalton Knecht do. But Draymond here hooks both of them and pulls them to the ground. And Richard Jefferson is on the broadcast.
He nailed it.
And he laughs. He laughs. As soon as it goes to the replay, Mike Breen is sitting there like, well, I don't know. RJ goes, no, Mike. No, you can't do this. Draymond, you can't do this. Draymond, stop. And he's like actually talking to Draymond on the floor.
Well,
like,
because Dre gets up.
Argue.
Dre gets up incredulous that a foul was not called for this situation. And Scott Foster is taking it all in behind him there, and I mean, he's just an incredible guy. I mean, I'm trying to think of the right way to articulate this. What is the thing about Draymond? Like, if Draymond didn't do this stuff, would he also be the great player that he is? That's the thing. Like, this is what comes with it. Like, when you have a player like a Dennis Rodman comes to mind. Like, all the antics had to come with it.
The lunacy of it all is attached to that.
Like, I was talking, and this is a much different example, but I think it's in the same wheelhouse. Like, if Luka, it's not going to happen, but if Luka spent a summer just going crazy to get shredded, to just be in impeccable shape, I don't know if he'd be as good of a basketball player.
No, I think part of that is like, and Nurk did this. Yusuf Nurkic did this. He lost a metric ton of weight one off season, and he didn't know how to play without being at 330 pounds.
Sure.
Because it wasn't that it was, a bad thing in a sense of like being in better shape, but what made him effective was being the Bosnian beast, and that meant leaning on guys for 30 minutes, and that's part of what Luka does, is he leans on you for 30 minutes.
He uses what he's got to his advantage.
I mean, I was talking to the coach tonight, and I'm like, what do you think Luka is? About 270, 275? He's like, at least. So you've got the 6'8", 200, and like you have it again, another like massive tight end, offensive tackle type, who is just playing that hard for that long, and he's just going to wear you out. Draymond Green is like, he's just going to wear you out physically, mentally, emotionally. Like he's just
it wears you down.
I mean, think about Dylan Brooks is like I never, to be totally clear, please, Joe Cronin, don't ever, ever, ever put him on this team because I will despise you for it.
He would be beloved in Portland.
I don't think so because Duck fans have turned on him.
He would be beloved.
No, I think it's a difference between, I don't know the reason I was going to go. There are cheeky shenanigans and then there's just evil shenanigans.
But we have, I can't think of the last Blazer we've had.
Evil shenanigans?
Yes.
Ruben Patterson, but then also came with some nasty stuff.
Right, but that's 20 years ago.
Yeah, Wes was not evil.
Right.
Robin wasn't evil. I'm trying to think of truly, truly evil.
That's a big word, Dan.
I mean,
that's a big word to use for a basketball player.
The only one they've had that was even mildly dirty was CJ.
Sure.
Because he it happened. He had more flagrants than anybody else at that period of time. He undercut a couple of guys, but he wasn't evil. Dirty at times, and he knew what he was doing.
I'm not a fan of Dylan Brooks either, but I wouldn't go so far as to call him evil.
I'd call him evil. Well,
you've done it like 12 times, so I know you would.
Trevor Ariza.
Oh, that's a good one.
Trevor was evil.
See?
Yeah.
That's why he's Danny.
It was a short period.
Good pull.
I mean, he was the guy who literally undercut Rudy Fernandez and may have ruined his back for his life.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, and again, you need a guy who borders on evil. I genuinely think you do, and I don't know if Denny has got the ability to be evil in him, but he can definitely be nasty.
We want nasty. We don't want evil. But
I want pushing up against evil.
Right, but my point is that Blazer fans will welcome pretty much any personality type into the fold as long as they're playing hard.
I mean, we
haven't seen dirty in a long time, so I don't know how the
Raymond Felton is the only guy they've ever that has been like. Right. You were never, ever allowed back in the city. We will boo you endlessly.
Gary Payton is in that camp now.
He's pretty close.
I think he's in that camp.
Yeah, but I mean, Felton is like
banned for life.
Number one.
Like picture up on the wall at the Moda Center.
Yeah.
You're never allowed in the building.
It's the Simpsons. Have you seen this guy? And it's like.
Precisely.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're not allowed here, bud.
Why don't we pull up the Blazer box? Because, we're 30 games into the season now. I want to take a look at the, we'll take a look at sort of the middle class of the Western Conference standings. Here you go. So, boy, there are a lot of teams in that 2 to, 11 spot right now, basically Houston to San Antonio. And it's going to be real fascinating to see where things shake out. If you were, let's look at it this way. If you were to take the 2 to 12, we'll even include Sacramento in there, and you got San Antonio and Sacramento down here at 11 and 12. If you were to grab any of these teams right now, and let's kick Dallas out of there because we both like them a lot. Which of these teams do you think legitimately could pose a threat to Oklahoma City or Dallas? Because Memphis. Wow.
Memphis's profile is nasty.
That's really interesting.
They've just been beat up. If you look at, Edie's been out for some games, Jaren Jackson's been out for some games, Shaw's been out for some games, Desmond Bane's been out for some games. And even then, they came in and absolutely housed this Blazers team.
Yep.
I mean, and then they beat them again in Memphis. If you look at them, I believe them and Dallas are and New York. I think those are the only three teams that are top 10 in both offense and defense. It depends on what night you look at it.
Sure, they could vacillate to 11 or whatever.
But Memphis is nasty. They can play in the open court. They can play in the half court. They can defensively. They will get after you. They can play with two bigs. They can go small. They've got guys like Conchar and Aldama. They haven't had Gigi Jackson, who was phenomenal for them last year as a rookie. Vince Williams Jr. They're missing some guys, and they're still really good.
Yeah, I mean they're third in the West right now.
And that's the thing is they're going to get healthier and they're going to get better. Oklahoma City, they don't have Chet, but I don't think they can play a lot of different styles. Like, they've got Chet and they've got Hartenstein.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're like. If you told me if you made OKC healthy and you gave Dallas full health, and Dallas is going to miss Luka for a month. Like, that just happened right as we were going live.
If you have tickets for Saturday, sorry folks, you're not going to see Luka.
It sucks. I mean, that's he's got a calf strain.
Yeah.
But if you gave Dallas full health, I'm picking Dallas. Like, because they can play so many different ways.
I'm the same. And to have Luka and Kyrie is just
and
such
Clay,
an advantage in the playoffs. And if Clay's getting hot, like,
we saw it. He just came out and torched Portland for like
Clay
a 5-minute
will
stretch.
score like 15 points in a quarter in
and
the
you
playoffs.
Go, and then
that's not fair.
That's right. He can still do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's like
I look at Houston, Danny.
They can't score.
If they can add somebody. A
Jimmy Butler.
A Jimmy Butler.
No, James Butler, perhaps.
If he goes there, I think there's something.
I think if he goes anywhere, it's going to be Golden State.
What that to me is such a miss.
I don't think it's going to happen because of the way the CBA is. I've talked to a few executives over the last week, and there's real fear over the CBA.
Yeah, but throw that away for a minute, because we'll definitely be talking way too much about the CBA as we get later in the season.
I'm just saying in general.
No, I know.
The feeling around, like, I don't think many guys are going to get moved.
Well, that has been the conversation because it's too complex now to make trades happen around the deadline.
Like, everything you like, oh, that might work, and they're like, nope, first apron, nope, second apron,
from
nope.
a big salary perspective with a team that's either in the apron or close to going over the cap, because it's so punitive now.
It is, and there's paralyzed fear within executives. It's like, if I make this move, I can't make a single other move, and I might not be able to make a move to get out of it.
What a miss, though, because the trade deadline is one of the most fun weeks of the NBA season, especially no matter. It sort of levels the playing field, because if you're a contender, you're buying.
You can load up, and if you're a seller, you can get out.
If you're Portland, you can get out and sort of set the stage for the rest of the season. Like, everybody watching, if you are watching this show right now, you're going to have an opinion about what the Blazers do at the trade deadline.
Or don't do.
And part of that calculus will be everything is so restrictive now that you're not allowed to move as much. And look, I think a lot of it is going to be factored in with the guys with the top-end salaries, right? So if you're trying to move a Jimmy Butler with a big salary, that's going to be very difficult. To the Jimmy Butler to Golden State point, I just don't think Jimmy Butler puts them anywhere close to over the top. It is fool's gold in the Gold Rush State.
I don't think he gets moved, but I think if he does, that's the more likely destination. I don't think Houston goes in on that because Jimmy's 35. But if you are the Warriors and they do, turn down that path, you do it because you're making for one last hurrah for Steph. And there's just how many guys are out there who even give you remotely a chance.
The only thing I think about Houston is, yes, this is a young team. They're the rock fight masters of the NBA. But if they're still like second in the West, the first week of February, you have to really consider adding a scorer or two and making a run, because
and he's from Texas. I mean, he's from the Houston area. Like, all those things. And Ime doesn't want to
for a decade. No one knows what the future
holds. The Oklahoma
holds.
City Thunder in 2012.
Exactly.
Everyone's sitting there looking at it, and now what they got out of it was one finals run, and then everybody was gone.
Let's take a look at the Blazers' schedule as we wrap things up here tonight. They got Dallas on Saturday. They got the surging 76ers.
Yeah,
at home
they're alive
on Monday. And then they play the Lakers, and then they're off to the road.
Yeah, New Year's
for the start of the year.
New Year's in Los Angeles. I think they're taking off about the same time that Oregon and Ohio.
New Year's Day.
Yeah. So, which is good news.
I was going to say.
Yeah, you don't want them leaving the day before.
Because if they're leaving the 31st, take the under in that game.
Yeah, look, New York or Los Angeles New Year's is undefeated.
Los Angeles New Year's, South Beach, New York, those are the
undefeated.
The noon tip in MSG is over for a West Coast team.
It's always anytime there's a day off in between going to Los Angeles or Miami, you're going,
yeah.
Well, it's tough.
But it'll be interesting because then you hit the road. Milwaukee, Detroit, New Orleans, Dallas before you come back home. And then all of a sudden you're mid-January.
I mean, New Orleans is only
and then you're a month away.
I mean, Detroit's been playing relatively well.
My Pistons, yeah.
They came back tonight. What's interesting is the Blazers are 10-20 through 30 games. My prediction was they would go 8-22 in the first 10. They have 2 games performed above that. According to Cleaning the Glass, the wonderful analytics site, they are number 2 in the NBA in expected win differential, in that they have won 3.5 more games than expected.
I know who number 1 is.
Who's number 1?
The Lakers, right?
Yes, 3.6.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. The Utah Jazz have lost 0.7 more games than they should have. According to this, they actually should have won more games than the Trailblazers right now by net rating.
But they haven't. The Blazers have won 3 more.
But the thing about this to kind of remember is
it
that
maths out over the course of a season.
The likelihood is that it would kind of figure it out. As of right now, it's got the Blazers at 17.9 wins. It has the Jazz at 21.9. It's a pretty sizable gap.
Which is good.
In the sense of
as we flip towards
the Jazz maybe find a game here or there. The Blazers maybe drop a game here or there.
Yeah.
It's just for all of the people that are out there like, the Blazers aren't tanking enough. They're winning too many games. 82 games.
That crowd's pretty quiet.
Look.
That crowd's pretty quiet. They're 10-20.
Enjoy a win every
What a
now
night.
It's
Scoot Henderson is the hero of Portland for a night.
It's so much more fun.
Absolutely.
So much more fun.
Yeah. Priest Lake Dan, I saw your tweet. You're right. He's like, look, I'm just happy to get a win. I know the losses are going to stack up as we go into 2025, so I'm just happy for what we have this evening, as I am too. What a night.
You love to see it.
I had a great time.
Selfishly, I don't want to be at 41 home games where they lose 33 of them.
That crowd had a great night.
And that's the thing is,
that crowd had a great night.
For everybody who goes to a game once a season,
yeah, my girlfriend was there tonight. Yes. She picked a hell of a game to go to.
She unfortunately had to sit right in front of me and hear me all game.
Just pounding tables.
I don't ever pound the table, but I do talk loud. It does come with the experience.
Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on Saturday. They're taking on the Mavericks of Dallas without Luka. Can the Blazers win consecutive games? You're not going to call it? You're not going to guarantee it?
Well, no. There's still a Kyrie. There's still a PJ. There's still a gaffer that can go for 15 points in a quarter.
Don't work too hard.